Hi guys, Dave Benson here, Philippine Bible Ministry. Today I want to talk about Lent. I don't really want to talk about Lent too much, but I want to talk about traditions in the church, and the idea of Lent came up. I was going to do something on Lent, um, because I've never, when I didn't become a Christian until I was 37 years old, possibly when I was a child. Let's see, I'm not sure how that all works. Good thing I don't have to decide, but I know for sure that I was saved in when I was 37. And I never went to a church that had the tradition of Lent. Um, I just never did, right? I know that's like Episcopalian and of course Catholic and of course most of the I don't know about all the Reformed churches. I know that Lutherans and Episcopalian and a lot of those have that tradition. And I've seen a lot of stuff on it on YouTube. You know, is it biblical? Is it not biblical? Well, it's not biblical in the sense that it's not in the Bible. It's not. There's no. There's no. So here's an interesting thing about biblical or no Christian holy days or Christian traditions, right? Um, Back in the old days, in the Old Testament, they have all these festivals, and they have all these holy days, and they have like a feast that lasts a week long, and the what is it, festival of the booths and the different things, right? All the different things they did during their calendar year, right? That was part of their culture and part of their following God, right? We don't have that in Christ. We really don't have that in Christianity. Not to follow Jesus. Now, once again, is it part of the tradition? Yeah, it's part of the tradition since 325 AD is what I found. So since 325 AD, people have been doing this. And let me just tell you something. Tradition is a funny thing that you get a couple generations in, and it's like, no, this is what we do. We got to do it because it's what my grandma did. You know, it's the old story that I often tell. That it's my favorite. The reason I often tell it, I heard it from the pulpit. I'm not sure who or when, but it's a famous old story about the wife would cut off the end of the pot roast when she put it in the oven. Every time, and one day the husband says, "Why do you always cut off the end of the pot roast?" She goes, "I don't know. My mom always did it." So they asked the mom. My mom says, "Why do you always cut the pot roast, the end of it when you put it in?" She says, "I don't know. My mom always did it." So they asked Grandma, who is still alive, and Grandma says, "Well, back in the day, we had a little tiny oven, and it wouldn't fit, so we had to cut the end off." So they just kept doing something for they started for whatever reason, and then it just becomes like this is what you do, right? So when we're talking about, God, look at that shirt collar, that's ridiculous. I hate rolled up collars on t-shirts. I guess it's all right. I want to redo the whole video. So we talk about traditions, and so Lent is a tradition. Is there anything wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with praying and fasting and giving up things for God. I mean, Jesus said, "Deny yourself, pick up your cross," right? So it's a good concept. It's a good reminder for people. You know, like the Ash Wednesday thing. Same thing. It's not in the Bible. There's nothing in the Bible about it. But it's a good reminder to humble yourselves. You know, to give up things for the Lord. Now, when Jesus said deny yourself, he wasn't talking about for 40 days. He was talking about for your whole life. He said, "Sell everything you have, follow me." He wasn't talking about for 40 days. So it's like a miniature version. Why do we do the 40-day thing? Why does that famous guy have the book 40 days? What is it? 40 days of purpose, and 40 because it's in the Bible. You just fast for 40 days. Moses fasted for 40 days. There's a couple other 40. There's some 40 days stuff in the scripture. So we kind of follow the tradition, but it's just a tradition. Whether you do it or not, will it bring you closer to God? Maybe it will. Do you need lentil season, Lenten? Is that what it's called? Lenten? Do you need Lent season to be closer to God? No, I hope not. That here's my point on the whole thing. I hope you don't need it to force yourself to do something or you're just doing it because it's a tradition. You always do it. Well, I'm going to give up TV for 40 days, or I'm going to give up this, or I'm going to to get closer to God. Nothing wrong with that. But if it's not real, if it's not authentic, if it's not coming from your heart. So what do I say about it? Fine, it's good, it's fine. You want to do that? It's fine. You want to do it anytime? That's fine. You want to do it your whole life? That's probably better, right? Because Jesus said deny yourself. But so let's just move past Lent. Lent's fine. I don't follow it. I don't follow Ash Wednesday. There's a lot of things I don't follow. Um, But just on tradition, real quick, I just have a couple of real quick thoughts because I'm reading this. One of the old books I'm reading by Charles Finney is a really long, thick. It's like oh, 13. Well, it's like almost. I think it's like over. It's well over 1,000 pages. I think it's 1,300 and some pages. Long book. I downloaded it, so I'm reading it. It's on revival. So how can you have that much on revival? Because his idea of revival is not our idea. We're not going to talk about that right now. But he talks about the church a lot. He talks about the way the church business is done and how things get in the way. And he talks about traditions of church. And so I'm reading through the chapter I'm reading through now. I just find it interesting historically, right? So he talks about how the hats that they used to wear. They used to wear a certain hat. When they changed the hat to a white hat, then everybody was upset. You can't do this. What are you doing? This is ungodly. This is not right. And then the kind of clothes that they wear. They used to wear this clothes and that clothes and finery and collars and then they switched to this and that and then they switched to this. And the music they used to do this thing called lining the hymn, where the person would get up, the elder, the whoever it was, the deacon or whoever, whatever they call him, one of the leaders of the church would get up to lead the hymn, and he would read the line first, and then they would sing the line, and he would read the line. So that became a tradition. So when someone else changed it, oh my gosh, when they brought hymnals in, oh my gosh, we can't do that. That's so worldly. We can't bring hymnals in. Watt, the guy, what did he write? He's a famous hymnist. Watt, I forgot his. Anyway, very amazing. He wrote some amazing hymns. Watt is his last name, Watt. Um, when they brought his hymnal in, oh, this is scandalous. What are you doing? You can't do this. You can't do that. So just kind of, oh, and then choirs. When they brought choirs in, what are you doing now? What do we need a choir for? What is this, a show? What do we do? So over the years, and now we have so much that's done out of tradition that really has little or nothing to do with worshiping God. I mean, it does. It's part of the worship, but just don't get caught up in the tradition, guys. I know that we had this thing about sola scriptura I did the other day, and when I looked at some of the people who are opposed to it, they're like, no, tradition is just as important as the Bible, or this or organizations is just as has just as much authority as it. No, it doesn't. Come on, God, we're here to follow the Lord, guys, right? Do all that stuff. That's fine. I'm not telling you to give up your traditions, but I'm telling you just to think about it for a minute. Like, where does it say? Where does it say in the book of Acts? And then they met on Sunday, and then they prayed, and then they took an offering, and then they sang songs, and then they did this, and then they did this at the end, and then once a month or once every 2 months, or once every 4 times a month, or every second Tuesday they did communion, and none of that's in the scripture, guys. None of that is essential to your Christianity walk, right? Gathering is. I think gathering is essential. I'll go with that. So let's follow the essentials. If you have traditions and you're comfortable, just go with it. That's fine. Just remember to have an authentic relationship directly with the Lord. That's all I got for now. God bless you guys. That's all for now.